What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Arrival Entertainment, and welcome to my list of the next top 5 movies that I like that everybody else hates. If you're brand new to the channel or you just don't remember, back in 2019 I did a top 5 ranking video of the top 5 movies that I like that everybody else hates, and then a week later, I think it was a week later, I did the top 5 movies that I hate that everybody else loves. They were well-received videos, I had a lot of fun making it, you guys seemed to really enjoy it, so I always planned on doing a follow-up to those videos. It took a little longer than I hoped for, but I got a list ready, and now I'm ready to do this video. So this video, again, is going to be the top 5 movies that I like that everybody else hates, and then next weekend is going to be the top 5 movies that I hate that everybody else likes. So you get both ends of the spectrum from me. And just like with every list, just keep in mind that this is just my own opinion. I acknowledge people don't like these movies, and that's great. And I acknowledge that there's people that love the movies that are going to be on my ranking video for next weekend, and that's great too. We're all human. Movies speak to us in a different way, and that's just great. Let me know in the comments section what you guys honestly think of these movies on this list. And without further ado, let's get started with number 5. Rambo Last Blood. Now, if you go and watch my review for Rambo Last Blood that I did back when the film came out, my opinions on the movie still hold up for the most part. I still really enjoy the movie, but years have gone by and I do understand why people just don't like this movie. The 4th Rambo movie ended things pretty good for the character, and a lot of people thought a 5th movie wasn't really all that necessary, but we ended up getting it, and a lot of people did not like this movie. And while again, I can understand why people don't like it, there are problems with the movie, I personally don't think the movie deserves all the hate that it gets. I like how the film looks overall. Sylvester Stallone's great in the movie. This is obviously a character that he loves playing, and it definitely shows in his performance. The gore aspect, the action, and the violence is on top notch, I think, in the 3rd act, in my opinion. Again, not so much in the middle parts. I will give people that. I think there could have been a little bit more aspects of that in the middle part of the movie, but it definitely makes up for the lack of it towards the end when it's just nonstop action and violence, and it's just super entertaining. And like I said, the film definitely does have its problems. It does feel like the movie is saying, like, we know that the 4th movie ended really good, but we're still trying to make a story, and we're trying to come up with something to get a 5th movie out of here somewhere. At times it does feel like that, and because of that you can easily just dismiss this movie and think of it as completely pointless. The story doesn't feel like your typical Rambo story that we're used to seeing in the previous movies, so I acknowledge that the film does have its problems. I don't consider it a great movie or anything, but I definitely don't think the movie deserves all the hate that it got back when it came out. I think it's a perfectly fine, enjoyable entry in the Rambo series, and Sylvester Stallone's great in the movie, and it's not too long of a movie. It's, what, like an hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes, something like that? So it's an easy watch, and I didn't hate myself while watching the movie, so I was genuinely surprised that this is one of the lowest rated entries in the Rambo series. And I definitely don't think it deserved the Razzie nominations and awards that it got back in 2019. I don't know. I've always enjoyed this movie. I enjoyed it when I first saw it, and my thoughts on the film have held up after I reviewed the movie. It's an enjoyable entry if you haven't seen it. If you were turned off by the reviews and what some of the negative comments were saying, it is worth checking out. Just know that it's not going to be as good as the 1st movie or even the 4th movie, but it's a perfectly good and enjoyable entry into the franchise, and I liked how it ended. I'm not gonna lie, I liked how it ended. Child's Play, the 2019 remake. This is another one that a lot of fans of the Chucky series just felt was just completely unnecessary. The original Chucky series that ended with Cult of Chucky was still going pretty strong, despite some mixed reviews on Curse and Cult of Chucky. There was a TV show that was being planned. I haven't seen the TV show yet, but apparently it's really good. And the original creator of Chucky has been heavily involved with these movies since the very beginning. So why would you want to do a remake of the first Child's Play movie without the original creator and without anyone from the original series, really? Everyone thought it was a complete waste of time. A lot of people did not see this movie because of it, and hardcore Chucky fans were savage towards this movie. And I should note really quick that I'm not a hardcore fan of the Chucky series. I like the first one, I like Bride of Chucky, I like Curse and Cult of Chucky, and there's aspects of 2 and 3 that I enjoy, even though I don't think those movies aren't that good. Seed of Chucky is just awful. That is one of the worst horror films I have ever seen. So I was skeptical myself going into a Chucky or Child's Play remake, but I enjoyed a lot of it for the most part, and another one where I don't think it deserved all the hate that it got from the Child's Play or Chucky community. I think they did a good job for the most part separating themselves from the rest of the Chucky series. I like how they didn't go in the supernatural aspect like the original movies did. They went with a more technology-based story for the Chucky character, which in this day and age of technology, it makes the most sense. I thought Aubrey Plaza was really good in the movie. I like the kid who played Andy in the movie, and of course, Mark Hamill as the voice of Chucky, I thought was great casting. When I hear voiced by Mark Hamill, I'm automatically sold on the movie. Except for Rap City Street Kids Believe in Santa. I don't know what happened with that movie. I was invested in the story, I was invested with the characters. For the few moments that the film had comedic moments, I thought it worked really well. The killings that Chucky did, I thought was well handled for the most part. You can definitely tell in those moments that this was a smaller budget, but it wasn't super distracting, at least for me it wasn't. I thought it was melded together pretty well. And to me, I thought this movie did what most remakes should do, which is take a similar concept, but do your own thing with it. And personally, I think they did it very well for this. Yeah, a lot of fans didn't like this because it wasn't the original creator involved with it. It wasn't Brad Dourif voicing Chucky. Jennifer Tilly wasn't in this movie, and a lot of fans turned on this movie, especially with the original creator outright saying that he hated this movie. And while I can understand that, fan bases are so attached to their favorite franchises that when something like this happens, they can be very offensive towards that. But for someone like me, I'm not a gigantic fan of the Chucky series. I enjoy them. I like the character of Chucky. I was more open to it, and I think I liked it. I think it was a pretty decent remake for the most part. Next is Jurassic World. Now, I'm not going to spend too much on this one because I just did a whole review for this movie back before Jurassic World Dominion came out. If you want to know more thoughts about that movie for me, then go check out my review. But all I'll say here is, again, I don't get the hate for this movie. It definitely has its problems, don't get me wrong. I'm not completely oblivious to the problems that this film has, but I think this movie gets way too much hate. I thought it was a cool idea that they went in the direction of having the park fully operational, people interacting with dinosaurs, and dinosaurs, of course, getting loose. It's typical Jurassic Park stuff. I really like the new characters, Claire and Owen. I thought they worked really well off of each other. The kids in the movie are pretty disposable and underdeveloped. They try to give them some development by saying that their parents were going through a divorce, which was completely out of nowhere and honestly felt like a reshoot. The villain character is just the cardboard cutout, but what really saves the movie are the dinosaur aspects and the fact that it does go in a more straight up thriller aspect. That stuff was really cool. However, I know a lot of people didn't like the fact that there wasn't much commentary on nature and science. I get that, I've acknowledged that too, but for it being a more straight up thriller, similar to what Jurassic Park 3 did, I thought this one was much better handled than Jurassic Park 3 was. And the third act is top tier Jurassic Park material for me. I loved the stuff with the Indominus Rex and the Raptors, and then the T-Rex getting involved, and then the T-Rex Blue and the Indominus Rex fighting at the end. That was really awesome. It had a really great ending, and I enjoyed it. I really liked Jurassic World overall. It doesn't hold up to the first Jurassic Park movie, but I think what they were going for with this movie, I think they succeeded for the most part. There could have been more character development, more commentary on nature and science like the previous two films did. But again, for what they were going for with this movie, I enjoyed it for the most part. I really liked it as a straight up thriller. And again, don't think it deserves all the hate it gets. It Chapter 2. I didn't see this movie when it came out in theaters. I saw the first movie when it came out in theaters, and I really, really loved that first movie. And I'm gonna acknowledge, It Chapter 2 is not as good as the first one. But I had a ton of fun with It Chapter 2. Yet another one where everyone thinks that it's the worst movie ever created. It disrespected everything that happened in the first movie. They completely ruined the ending. and everyone compares it to the 1990 miniseries, and I just was watching it when I watched it for the first time, and I was like, really? People hated this? I mean, yeah, it's not as scary as the first one was, but for what they did, I was thoroughly entertained. The casting of the Losers Club as adults I thought was perfect. Top notch. I actually am still shocked thinking about it that they got James McAvoy and Jessica Chastain in this movie. I mean, that's a big achievement right there. And the film definitely goes in a different direction than the first movie did, similar to the miniseries. The miniseries, the second part, which had the adults, felt like it was going in a different direction than the first part did, at least from what I remember. I haven't seen the miniseries in quite a bit. And they do focus more on the comedic aspects, which, again, I could see why that would turn people off. The first movie felt more scary. It had more horror elements than comedic elements. This one kind of reversed it. It was more comedic with some horror elements, and I can understand how that could turn people off from it. But after hearing that they went in that direction, I just embraced it when I first saw it, and like I said, I had a ton of fun when I saw it the first time. I actually rewatched it the next day after I watched it for the first time with my parents and sister, and I had an even better time with it. And I thought how they wrapped up the story was much better than how they wrapped up the story in the miniseries. I couldn't stand the ending of the miniseries. I thought that was awful. Here I thought the ending was much better handled. I don't know how faithful it is to the book because I haven't read the book yet, but I thought it was much better handled than the miniseries was. I thought the emotional moments towards the ending, I thought they captured really well too. The characters are really great. I can't stress this enough. The casting of the Losers group as adults is perfect. Damn perfect. The movie looks good. It is a little bit too long. There is parts in the middle that you could have trimmed out here and there. I don't think this movie needed to be over 3 hours long, but we did get it 3 hours long, and I really had a good time with it. I'm actually going to watch it this year for Halloween, and I'm really looking forward to seeing it again. And my number one is Batman vs. Superman. Again, I did a ranking video for all the Batman movies once the Batman came out, so I'm not going to spend too much time on this movie. If you want to know more thoughts about it, then check out my Batman ranking video. But I expressed in that video that I have a complicated history with Batman vs. Superman. I remember hearing everyone trashing this movie back when it came out, and I saw it opening weekend as well, and even I was mixed on the movie. When I first saw it, there were elements that I loved, and there were elements that I didn't love, and there were elements that I just wasn't quite sure what to think about it. And I just wrote it off as, okay, it's a mixed bag. I enjoyed it, but I'm not going to go out to the theater and see it again. But then the film came out on Blu-ray with a new 3-hour Ultimate Edition. I bought the Blu-ray, I watched it again. I enjoyed it a little bit more, but I didn't watch it for a couple years after that. I watched the film again back in 2019 when all the Batman films came out on 4K. I did like a whole 4K Blu-ray marathon of all the Batman films, and Batman v Superman was the last one. And I still enjoyed it as much as I did the first time I rewatched it. I liked it just a little bit more. But then in late 2020, the film was re-released on 4K Blu-ray again with new color timing, new enhancements, new aspect ratio for certain scenes, and me being the collector that I am, I of course bought a copy of it, and I watched it that night when I got it in the mail. And I still stand by that viewing is the most I've ever enjoyed watching Batman vs. Superman. I've only stuck with the Ultimate Edition ever since the movie came out on Blu-ray, mainly because I think that extra half-hour footage that they cut out did help the movie overall. And I'm really glad that that new release just had the Ultimate Edition. That's obviously Zack Snyder's preferred version. And having the Ultimate Edition, knowing what's gonna happen in all these scenes after I've seen it multiple times now, I was just able to just accept everything that was in the movie and just enjoy it. Enjoy it the most I've ever enjoyed it. Is there problems with the movie? Absolutely. But to me, the parts that really stand out, I don't even think about the negative aspects of it anymore. I still really love Ben Affleck as Batman. I really enjoy Henry Cavill as Superman in this movie. I really like Gal Gadot. She was perfect casting as Wonder Woman. The casting in this movie is like 99% spot on perfect. Take out Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor, and then it would be a 100% perfect casting. Even though I like the movie now, Jesse Eisenberg was poorly miscast as Lex Luthor. He could have worked, but there was just something there that didn't work. The movie at times still does feel like a big bloated CGI fest, especially towards the ending of the movie, but like I said, when I watched it the last time, back in 2020 when it came out, for some reason my issues that I previously had just completely went over my head, and the positive aspects really did stand out for me a lot more. And that happens with movies. Sometimes you can watch a movie and not really like it, but then you watch it again, and for whatever reason it might be, you find yourself enjoying it a lot more. The problems that you had, you don't really think about all that much, or you can acknowledge it and it just doesn't bother you that they're there. And that's definitely what happened with me with Batman vs. Superman, and that's why I put it as number 1. I was mixed on the movie when I first saw it, stuck with the Ultimate Edition after it came out on Blu-ray, watched it a number of times, and I've grown to really like and appreciate what Zack Snyder did with the film. And I also think that Zack Snyder's Justice League helped out with it too, seeing what his original version of Justice League was supposed to be like, how it was supposed to connect all 3 of his movies that he did up until that point, Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, and now Justice League. It does feel more coherent now that you see what things were leading to with his version of Justice League. Whereas you watch the theatrical cut of Justice League and it just doesn't meld together with what Zack Snyder was trying to do. You watch the Snyder cut and all 3 of his movies that he did, Zack Snyder did, make a little more sense in my opinion. But either way, I'm glad I had a rediscovery with Batman vs. Superman. I may be the only one, but I don't care. I've really enjoyed it the past couple times I watched it. And if you haven't seen the movie since it came out in theaters, check it out again with the Ultimate Edition, because that extra half hour of footage, it does help the story for the most part. Still has some issues, but a definitely more coherent and better put together movie, in my opinion, of course. So that's my list, guys. That is the top 5 movies that I like that everybody else hates. Just like always, let me know your thoughts and opinions on these films down in the comment section below. And just like always, guys, thank you again so much for watching. Next weekend, I'm going to be doing the top 5 movies that I hate that everybody else loves. But before that, I'm going to be seeing and reviewing that new movie where the Crawdads sing. I think that's what it's called. I'm going to go see that and review that this week, so look forward to those 2 videos coming very soon. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, then don't forget to like and share it. Subscribe right here if you haven't already, and until next time, guys, take care.